Okay, so the Spirit wanted me to teach on this. When the day of Pentecost came, they were all together in one place. Suddenly a sound like the blowing of a violent wind came from heaven and filled the whole house where they were sitting. They saw what seemed to be tongues of fire that separated and came to rest on each of them. All of them were filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in other tongues as the Spirit enabled them. Demonstrating Eskashka Minakola Katerik Domini Hishing and Nomana Katarak of Manikashe and Horakatashikanom Kotamanikitarokotashik. So this gift has always freaked human beings out because they said some people were just faking it and some actually had the Spirit speaking through them. There are many spiritual gifts. There's the gift of knowledge, there's the gift of faith, there's the gift of word of knowledge, there's the gift of healing, there's the gift of restoration of the Spirit. There's the gift of, and you say, what is that? I'm going to explain that. There are no limitations with God. So, the way I received the gift of being filled with the Holy Spirit was I was in church, and then a pastor laid hands on me and prayed for me to have it. Nothing happened. And what I used to do is go home and then I would watch sermons on YouTube while I was cleaning up my little apartment. The stone you builders rejected, which has become the cornerstone. Salvation is found in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given to mankind by which we must be saved. When they saw the courage of Peter and John and realized that they were unschooled, ordinary men, they were astonished, and they took note that these men had been with Jesus. I saw the Lord always before me, because he is at my right hand. I will not be shaken. Therefore my heart is glad, and my tongue rejoices. My body also will rest in hope, because you will not abandon me to the realm of the dead. You will not let your Holy One see decay. You have made known to me the paths of life. You will fill me with joy in your presence. Fellow Israelites, I can tell you confidently that the patriarch David died and was buried, and his tomb is here to this day. But he was a prophet and knew that God had promised him on oath that he would place one of his descendants on his throne. Seeing what was to come, he spoke of the resurrection of the Messiah, that he was not abandoned to the realm of the dead, nor did his body see decay. God has raised this Jesus to life, and we are all witnesses of it. Exalted to the right hand of God, he has received from the Father the promised Holy Spirit, and has poured out what you now see and hear. For David did not ascend to heaven, and yet he said, "The Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet." Whenever I read that, I always know that's confirmation that God is clearing some things out for me. Now, when I was alone, I felt like the Spirit was saying, ask. And I asked to be filled with the Spirit, and then the Spirit said, now speak. And then I felt a sensation, an overwhelming raising of the spirit, and I just poured out this language that I had never spoken before. And it's never left me. There's power in that because it's communication directly with God. So your spirit is combined with the Spirit of God, and it's strengthening the spirit inside of you. And when that happens, you become way more sensitive to your surroundings. When people speak, you can hear a certain tone in it. You can tell when it's from God, when it's not. You can tell when it's a clue, when it's confirmation. It becomes not the boundaries, but kind of like a fortress around you wherever you go. And when you see things, it has like an invisible tone to it. You know God is with you and speaking to you. That's the first step. When you're faithful in that one, you may receive other gifts. It's all dependent on your obedience. And these are gifts that enhance you here on earth. They solidify your faith in God to where you're just like, no, too much has happened. There is a God. And then from there, you always have to be honest with yourself. And that first question is, have I been obedient? And from there, your relationship will grow. I used to wake myself up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'd be in the worship room I had and I'd be like, all right, Lord. Because if you give up sleep to talk to God, that's love. Because when you're asleep, you don't want to get out of bed. You're just like, I'll talk to you later, Lord. But to actually get up out of bed, that's how you know if you love God. People don't understand. I'm always like, oh, I was just excited. I have this idea for you and all this. When I find somebody that actually wants to walk with me and talk with me and learn, that's few. So I value and prize them, and I keep teaching them, and I keep teaching them in tiny little teaspoons so that they have the foundation to learn the next level and the next level and the next level and the next level. That's like the open door to the heavenly realm. And when I teach you where it's at, but I leave the moments and the occurrences that are going to happen in your day for you to experience. So it's very important that the Holy Spirit be your teacher. All right, I love you.